In this video, we'll be looking at the Summit Pocket Towel, the PackTowl UltraLite, the Summit AirLite Towel, the Matador NanoDry Shower Towel, and the Matador NanoDry Track Towel. We'll be covering absorbency, wringing, drying, odor resistance, dirt repellence, sand repellence, portability, comfort, and quality of these backpacking towels. I spent over $130 in 2 to 3 months testing these 5 towels and to put this video together. So if you enjoyed this, please smash that like button so this can be seen by more people. I will be putting affiliate links to each of these backpacking towels in the description below, so if you do decide to buy a towel I recommend, it would mean a lot if you could use my links. I also did full reviews of all 5 backpacking towels, complete with unboxing, features, specs, pros and cons, and all that good stuff. I'll link to them in the description below. Let's get started. The PackTowl UltraLite, the Summit Pocket Towel, the Summit AirLite Towel, and the Matador NanoDry Shower Towel are all shower-sized towels. However, the Matador NanoDry Track Towel is a face towel, which is much smaller. Just something to keep in mind. With that out of the way, let's get right into the first test, absorbency. For absorbency, I measured and tested 3 different things. First up is the maximum total amount of water each backpacking towel can absorb in milliliters and in fluid ounces. All these towels are backpacking towels, so nothing even comes close to the absorbency of a regular cotton towel, but I guess, that's to be expected. Second is the absorbency ratio, which you can get by dividing the total amount of water absorbed in milliliters with the weight of the backpacking towel in grams. The PackTowl UltraLite is the only towel to have a higher absorbency ratio than the cotton towel, and it's really impressive at 4.4 times. Third, how well does each towel dry me off after a shower? Some towels leave a thin layer of moisture on your skin and you don't feel completely dry, which can be unpleasant for some people. This is really subjective, but I tried my best to come up with this list. Again, nothing comes close to the regular cotton towel, but I was very pleasantly surprised by the absorbency of the PackTowl UltraLite. It's the most absorbent and the easiest to towel off with. The Summit Pocket Towel's material left me feeling a bit damp, while the Matador NanoDry Track Towel was really small and got soaked fast. But they are still pretty absorbent and I guess not too bad. Based on everything above, I rated each backpacking towel's absorbency by giving it a number between 1 and 10, with 10 being the highest, and here are those ratings from highest to lowest. Again, I was really surprised by the PackTowl UltraLite, which is easily the most absorbent of all my backpacking towels. In last place, we have the Matador NanoDry Track Towel, which scored the worst because of its small size. For the wringing test, I soaked each backpacking towel in water and then wringed out as much as possible. After, I weighed each towel and calculated how much water was left in percentage. All the backpacking towels are lightweight and thin, so they were easier to wring out than the cotton towel. After soaking and wringing each towel, I let them dry outdoors and indoors to simulate conditions where you have to wash your towel and let it dry after. Here are the timings. The Matador NanoDry and the Summit AirLite towels dried the fastest, and the cotton towel was the slowest. Based on the wringing and drying time after wringing, I rated each towel, and here are those ratings. All the backpacking towels actually wring out pretty well and dry quite quickly, though some are better than others. For this drying test, I measured 100 ml or 3.4 fluid ounces of water to absorb with each backpacking towel and let them dry outdoors and indoors. This is to simulate drying off after taking a shower. Here are the timings starting from the fastest drying. The Matador NanoDry Shower Towel dried slightly faster than the Summit AirLite Towel and the PackTowl UltraLite. The Summit Pocket Towel dried the slowest of all the backpacking towels, but still dried much faster than the cotton towel. Based on these timings, here are the ratings. Unfortunately, I was not able to test the small Matador NanoDry Track Towel because it cannot absorb 100 ml of water. But I did a similar drying test for it in the full review of the Track Towel, linked in the description below. For odor resistance, I conducted these 3 different tests. The first test was to soak the towel in seawater, wring it out as best as I could, and seal it in a plastic bag for 4 days. After 4 days, here's what each towel smelled like, starting from the best. Only the Matador NanoDry towels had no smell, but the rest of the backpacking towels did not smell too bad. The cotton towel was by far the worst. The second test was to shower and dry off with the towel once and then seal it in a plastic bag immediately, also for 4 days. After 4 days, here's what each towel smelled like. The Matador NanoDry, PackTowl UltraLite, and Summit AirLite towels had no smell. Only the Summit Pocket Towel had a smell, but to be fair, it was very faint. The third test was to use the towel every single day for 7 days without washing it. In between uses, the towel was left here like this. Here's the breakdown. All the backpacking towels had no smell, which was great. Based on all the odor tests above, here are their ratings. All my backpacking towels actually did really well, with the Matador NanoDry towels being slightly better than the rest. For this dirt repellence test, I dragged each backpacking towel along some grass and stepped on them. After, I checked each towel. If there was any grass, leaves, or dirt picked up, I shook the towel to see how easily the grass or dirt will shake off. Here we have the amount of dirt picked up by each towel before and after shaking. Both the Matador NanoDry shower and Trek towels picked up nothing at all, even before shaking. The Summit AirLite towel picked up only a couple tiny pieces of dry grass, which were easy to shake off. The PackTowl UltraLite picked up a few pieces of dry grass, which shook off easily. The Summit Pocket Towel also picked up a few specks of dirt, which shook off easily. On the other hand, the cotton towel picked up a few specks of dirt, but these could not be shaken off. Here's how I rated the towels based on my observations. All the backpacking towels are very dirt repellent because they're very thin and flat, although some are more repellent than others. For the sand repellence test, I covered each backpacking towel with sand and then picked it up to see how much sand would stick to it. If there was sand stuck to it, I shook each towel to see whether it could be shaken off easily. Here's the amount of sand picked up by each towel before and after shaking. The Matador NanoDry and the Summit AirLite towels performed equally well, picking up only a minimal amount of sand that could be shaken off super easily. The Summit Pocket Towel and the PackTowl UltraLite picked up more sand, but the sand could be shaken off easily as well. Here's how I rated the towels based on my observations. Although all the backpacking towels are sand repellent, I wouldn't recommend using them as beach towels because they're super lightweight and will fly away easily. For portability, I looked at the weight and the packed size of each backpacking towel without the storage pouch. Here's the weight of each towel starting from the lightest in both ounces and grams. All the backpacking towels are significantly lighter than the cotton towel. Here's the packed size of the Summit Pocket Towel, the PackTowl UltraLite, the Summit AirLite Towel, the Matador NanoDry Shower Towel, and the Matador NanoDry Trek Towel. And here's what all of them look like beside the cotton towel from the side and also from the top. Based on this, here's how I rated the towels. For comfort, I looked at the softness, the thickness, and the sizing of each backpacking towel. For softness, the PackTowl UltraLite and the Summit Pocket Towel feel very soft and smooth against the skin. The Matador NanoDry and the Summit AirLite towels feel just a tiny bit less soft and less smooth, but honestly the difference is not that much. As for thickness, the PackTowl UltraLite is the thickest and most comfortable of all the backpacking towels, followed by the Summit Pocket Towel. The Matador NanoDry and the Summit AirLite towels feel the thinnest. For sizing, only the PackTowl UltraLite has dimensions close to a regular shower towel. The dimensions of the Summit Pocket, AirLite, and the Matador NanoDry shower towel are a bit smaller. And lastly, we have the Matador NanoDry Trek towel, which is extremely tiny. Next, whether the backpacking towel sticks to your skin is important as well, and here's my opinion on the stickiness of each towel. The PackTowl UltraLite is a bit sticky, but is the least sticky of all the backpacking towels. On the other hand, the Summit Pocket Towel is the stickiest. For all the backpacking towels, even the PackTowl UltraLite, I still recommend patting dry instead of wiping. And with that, here are the comfort ratings. The PackTowl UltraLite is easily the most comfortable backpacking towel that I have, but even this doesn't come close to feeling anything like your regular cotton towel. For quality, I looked at the edges of each backpacking towel, whether there was any loss of material after a few months of usage, bleeding issues, the quality of the hanging loop, and the quality of the storage pouch. After 2 to 3 months of light usage for the towel edges and loss of material, here's how the backpacking towels are holding up. The Matador NanoDry towels and the PackTowl UltraLite have edges that are not fraying and are still holding up well. There's also no weight loss, so no material was lost over the last few months. For the Sea to Summit pocket towel, the stitching isn't very consistent and it's also kind of loose. It lost 1 gram of material, which is 0.9% of its original weight. As for the Sea to Summit AirLite towel, there are signs of fraying on the edges, and it also lost 1 gram of material, which is 1.4% of its original weight. As for bleeding of colors, here's the list of towels from the least to the most severe bleeding. The Sea to Summit AirLite and pocket towels had only a slight bleeding on the first wash and not much after. The PackTowl UltraLite bled for about 3 washes, and the Matador NanoDry towels bled for about 5 washes. As for the quality of the hanging loops, here's my list. The PackTowl UltraLite had the best quality hanging loop, which felt the most secure. As for the Sea to Summit pocket towel and the Matador NanoDry towels, they had good quality hanging loops, but less secure than the UltraLites. The only one that I did not like was the Sea to Summit AirLites. It actually doesn't come with a hanging loop. Instead, it has this fastener that you can attach to a press stud on the inside of the storage pouch, and then use the pouch's hanging loop to hang your towel. But the problem here is that this doesn't feel secure to me and comes apart with fairly minimal tension. I personally don't like this. And lastly, here's the quality of the storage pouches, the material that you're made of, and also the weight. I felt that all the storage pouches are of really good quality. The Matador NanoDry shower and Trek towels had really awesome looking and high quality storage pouches that are made of silicone. However, my only issue is that they're really heavy, and they're both heavier than the towel itself. My personal favorite storage pouch is the Sea to Summit AirLites. It's made of 15D nylon, it's super strong, and also incredibly lightweight. The storage pouch of the Sea to Summit pocket towel is of good quality too, made of EVA, but isn't the most compressible. As for the PackTowl UltraLite, it doesn't come with a storage pouch. Based on all these factors, here are my ratings for quality. The Matador NanoDry towels and the PackTowl UltraLite are of much higher quality than the Sea to Summit pocket and AirLite towels. For overall performance, here's how all the backpacking towels performed in each test, from absorbency to quality. I color-coded the ratings to make it easier to look at. Green is for good, yellow is average, and red is just kinda bad. With each test weighted equally, here's the overall performance score for each backpacking towel. The Matador NanoDry shower towel and the PackTowl UltraLite were basically neck and neck, and I felt that they performed almost equally well. The Matador NanoDry Trek towel came after because I scored it kind of badly for comfort. The Sea to Summit AirLite and pocket towels did not do too badly either. But before you buy any towel, let me talk about my recommendations real quick, and please help me like this video if it has been helpful so far. For the best overall backpacking towel, I don't have a better recommendation than the Matador NanoDry shower towel. It's the highest scoring towel because it's the fastest drying, the most odor resistant, the most dirt repellent, the most lightweight shower towel that I have, and is of excellent quality. However, it's not the most comfortable. Because it's so lightweight, the material is naturally very thin and feels absolutely nothing like your regular shower towel. That's where the PackTowl UltraLite comes in as my most comfortable and most absorbent backpacking towel. It's thicker, softer, bigger, and less sticky than the Matador NanoDry shower towel. It's also crazy absorbent. With an absorbency ratio of a whopping 4.4 times, it absorbs a lot of water for its size, and it's so much easier to dry off with the PackTowl UltraLite than the Matador NanoDry. But this extra bit of comfort and absorbency does come at a small price, mainly in terms of weight. Okay, I think this might be a good time to go through all the important differences between the PackTowl UltraLite and the Matador NanoDry shower towel. I'll make it quick. The PackTowl UltraLite can absorb 400 ml or 13.5 fluid ounces of water, whereas the Matador NanoDry absorbs less than half that amount, about 150 ml or 5.1 fluid ounces of water. The PackTowl UltraLite is almost the same size as a regular shower towel, whereas the Matador NanoDry is slightly smaller. The UltraLite is also thicker, softer, and less sticky. However, because the PackTowl UltraLite is thicker, it dries slightly slower. It dries 82% faster than a cotton towel, whereas the Matador NanoDry dries 100% faster than a cotton towel. The PackTowl UltraLite also weighs more, coming in at 90 grams or 3.2 ounces, whereas the Matador weighs just 68 grams or 2.4 ounces. Another advantage that the Matador NanoDry has is that it has an antimicrobial coating, whereas the PackTowl UltraLite does not. So, which backpacking towel should you pick? I guess ultimately that depends on your priorities. If you want a towel that's more comfortable, more absorbent, and easier to dry off with, go for the PackTowl UltraLite. But if you prioritize performance over comfort, like extremely fast drying abilities, unmatched odor resistance, dirt repellence, and portability, go for the Matador NanoDry shower towel. For the backpacker or hiker who wants to shed as much weight as possible, you can consider using the Matador NanoDry Trek towel for everything, including showering, if you don't mind wringing it out a few times while you're drying off. Personally, I don't really like doing that, so I would pick the Matador NanoDry shower towel over the Trek towel any day. The backpacking towels that I'm not keen on recommending are the Summit AirLite towel and the Summit pocket towel. To be fair, they did perform pretty well in almost all the tests, and the Summit AirLite towel is even very similar to the Matador NanoDry in absorbency, portability, and comfort, and the material feels very similar. But the main flaw of the Summit towels is that the quality is not the best. It's okay, but it's not that great. The edges and stitching are not the best, and there's slight material loss after a few months of light usage. Also, I don't like the press stud loop thing on the AirLite. Is there a scenario where I would ever recommend the Summit Pocket or AirLite towels over the Matador NanoDry and the PackTowl UltraLite? Well, if you're on a really tight budget but you need a backpacking towel that doesn't cost 35 to 40 bucks, which is how much I paid for the Matador and the Pack towel, you could consider the AirLite towel, not the pocket towel. I paid about $23 for the AirLite towel, so a bit less expensive than the Matador NanoDry and the PackTowl UltraLite. Personally, I would pay more for the higher quality and better durability, but that's just my opinion. As for the pocket towel, it wasn't too expensive either, but I don't think there's anything great about it. It's the heaviest of all these backpacking towels of shower size, yet not the most comfortable and not the best performing. So I think I'll pass on this. And that about sums up my recommendations. Drop me a comment below. Which backpacking towel would you pick? If you enjoyed this video, you can consider watching my 10 best camping towels video as well. If you're new to my channel, I'm Liz, and this channel is all about me buying the gear so that you don't have to. If you decide to buy a towel I recommend, it would really help me out if you use one of my links in the description below and smash that like button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.